Oh dear Christ alive, Forza Motorsport, the reboot to the entire Forza Motorsport franchise. And good God indeed, what the hell has happened here? What the hell really has happened? This is, let's face it, this is a really important game in the franchise, just probably as important as the first ever Forza Motorsport. You know, like I said before, and we need to get this into our heads. This is a reboot to for the game that's been around now for almost 20 years. And this is what we get. A game that can barely run on PC, a lot of features missing, replays that don't even fucking work. So many bugs, so many known issues, just a general lack of what feels like any care in this. It was delayed for months. It was meant to be out spring this year. So, I thought, right, okay, they're delaying it. It's not ready. Fine. Let it stay in the oven. Let it get improved. And then release it. Give us something higher quality. I don't even think in all of that time they've actually switched on the oven. Because, holy shit, this game is terrible. This really is. I'm going to say it now. This is the worst Motorsport. If not the worst Forza. If we ignore Forza Street. Or if that bloody, whatever it is, Match 3 Forza comes out at some point. This is awful.
You disgust me.
Which is very, very frustrating indeed. Not just because of how terrible it is, but for the fact that they've improved in the correct areas. They have made changes I massively like and I am massively on board with. But it's everything else that compiles on top that has brought us this complete travesty to the... I could barely create the words for it. But holy shit, this game has so many problems. Now, I don't even know what their plan is with this. Because this is even worse than Motorsport 7's launch. And that was dreadful. And yet I don't like... this I dislike even more than that. So, we're going to have to discuss it, aren't we? So like I said before, the replays are completely hopeless. They are broken beyond belief. So don't even bother trying to use them. As I said before, the PC performance is piss, like I nearly said there. Now, I'm playing this on the Xbox, so I can't comment about that, but I have been seeing plenty of horror stories about Motorsport on the PC, which somehow doesn't surprise me, because they still haven't learned anything from their previous titles. I've been seeing a hell of a lot of horror stories from that on the previous installments, and yet how they are a steaming pile of horse shit, and yet somehow this is even worse. I believe. I don't know. But I'm seeing a hell of a lot of horror stories, a lot of soft-locking, game-crashing, stuff that even us Xbox players aren't immune to. We really aren't. This was delayed for months. Where has all of that time been? Where has it gone? Adding new bugs? Finishing a little bit of the Porsche Forza edition? You know, the fact that the headlights weren't finished quite yet? Is that what it was? Because where the hell has the other time gone? There's so many stupid, bloody decisions and bugs and shit that really, it shouldn't even have launched in this state. It really hasn't. But here we are. All I can do is sit down for probably well over an hour, get extremely infuriated at this, for me to literally have that meme of fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow. Because I'm in major Stockholm Syndrome. I hate this with a passion. I really do. I mean, have you seen the reflections on the problem there? Why does it look matte halfway through? It's... Oh, I don't know. Probably sunshine. Yeah. But yeah. There is that. However, let's not all start off negative, okay? Let's not just go from that rant and get even worse. Let's calm everything down and let's talk about some positives. First things first. I think the most improved area in the entire game is actually the rivals. I think the rivals in this game is actually bloody good. Really bloody good. So let's go to Kyalami. I'm actually really happy to see this track, and I like it quite a lot. S-Class cars, we'll use ACR Viper, why not? It's a good car, I quite like it. So, the improvements to this, the main one, really, is the ability to skip a lap, which is extremely beneficial for when you dirty it, and especially the beginning. Because, rivals, like, you always start from a standing lap. Why? Like, this is about time trialing and hot lapping. There's never is your best lap's going to be this. So, first lap, completely ignore it. The UI's bugged. There we go, fixed it. Okay, so we could just ignore it, skip the lap. And here we go, we're sort of, roughly near the final corner and whatnot. All is fine. That was a bit harsh over the curbing. So as you can see, current lap, it says dirtied, but, let's ignore it. We are just going to start the lap. And there we go. That is already fantastic. That is just brilliant. I mean, yeah, sure, it'd be nicer if we actually just started from a rolling start anyway. But that one simple change alone has made it a lot more worth it. Especially as well as, let's say, I've understeered a bit too much. There we go, I've run off the track. All I can do, skip the lap. So, I don't have to waste time either, rewinding all the way back to the start line, go back to the previous lap and then start it all again. I could just skip the entire lap and the next one will be clean. That alone makes Rivals 10 times better, a hell of a lot better, from one simple change. It is brilliant. Really, really brilliant. And that's pretty much all I need to talk about with the Rivals, if you ask me. That's honestly it. So, we will now get on to the track list. Now, I know that there's been definitely some concerns about the fact that this game has only launched with 20 different environments. Which is a shame. They claim this entire thing to be built from the ground up. We know that meme. Built from the ground up. Yay. And somehow, right, when we had the trailer, especially for Maple Valley, that looked good. That did. The quality, all of the looks, that did look built from the ground up. What we have here doesn't. It just looks like Motorsport 7, just a little bit nicer. There might be a bit more detail here and there, but far from what we got in the trailers. Far from. It's actually bloody stupid. For the fact that it's almost borderline false advertising, near enough. In fact, it is. When we get the gameplay reveal trailer, Maple Valley looked amazing. It really did, with the Ferris wheel in the background, and then when it goes to nighttime, all the fireworks and it lights up. It's fantastic. That's what it should have looked. Now it just looks like Motorsport 7 with a bit more colour. That's it. That's honestly it. So, we'll talk about each track sort of individually. Catalunya. Okay, so we've got the change there. As you can see, we no longer use the chicane. That's good. That's completely fine. National Circuit. It does have the chicane, or the alternate, it gets rid of the chicane. We also use the different hairpin now. Cool. No worries. However, if you did like the chicane, if you did like the older layout, you can't do it. There's no alternate layout that uses the tighter hairpin or the chicane at the end. National Circuit, the alt, you can't have both chicanes. It's only the one. And there's no school circuit. So immediately, with just one environment, we have gone down the amount of tracks. Spa, well, there's only one layout, and it's fine. Eagle Rock, we've got an oval circuit. The club circuit's absolutely awful. I don't understand it. All they've done is just taken a nibble out of the oval and then called it a club circuit. That's not an infield, that's a Dorito. Oh, that's all you've done there. It's awful. It really, really is awful. It's a crap track. Plus as well, we'll be discussing the harsher points later on. Don't you worry. Stay tuned for that. We've got another oval circuit, but we don't have NASCARs and we don't have Indy cars. You know, the cars designed for ovals. Don't have them, but we'll get to talking about that later on. So stay tuned. Grand Oak. I actually don't mind this circuit. National circuit, club, national reverse. You can't do club reverse. Okay, don't really know why. Hackney, I think that's how it's pronounced. It's alright, to be honest. You can't do Grand Prix reverse, but yeah. I think as well, it's pretty much just it pretty much just reminds me of Suzuka East, just slightly different. Homestead, Miami. Again, we've got the Speedway, we've got the road circuit. Yeah, that's it. That's it. But how is it that we're on a more powerful console? Right, this is the Series X that I'm on. More powerful than the Xbox One, but, you know, more powerful PC, whatever. How the fuck have we gone from even a lower amount of tracks? Yeah, sure, I may have not been the biggest fan of Homestead Miami, but there's more to it than that. You know, there were many different shorter circuits. There was even the alternate version of the road circuit, which used the banking at the end. Why is that gone? Indianapolis, we've got the Brickyard, we've got the Grand Prix. We don't have the Grand Prix Classic, we don't have the alternate, we don't even have that one layout from Grid Legends, which is probably existing. Motorsport 7 somehow uses this one layout a hell of a lot better. You know, the fact that it doesn't matter if we have older tracks. You know, it doesn't matter if they're outdated and no longer used. They're fun. They're completely fun. They're fine. You know, have the older Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The fact that Project Cars 2 has Silverstone from the 1980s, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having more historic layouts of tracks still in use to this day. There's nothing wrong with it. Kyle Army, actually really do like that track. Glad to see it. Le Mans, full, old Mulsanne, now else. No Bugatti circuit. Right, fine. Lime Rock, full circuit. South Chicane, full circuit alternate. Can't do the North Chicane by itself. Maple Valley, full circuit. Short circuit. Short circuit reverse. Why can't we do the full circuit reverse? Why? Let's remind ourselves. Motorsport 1, Motorsport 2, Motorsport 3, Motorsport 4, Motorsport 7. All games, all of the Forza Motorsport games that had Maple Valley, you could do the full circuit in reverse. Why is it all of a sudden the rules have changed on us for no reason? Mid-Ohio, I haven't really drove around this track enough to give you a proper opinion. Mugello, good to see that track. Always like Mugello. Nürburgring, I mean, I'm glad to see we don't just have the GP circuit. We've got the sprint circuit. There we go. All saved in the world. Obviously, I know Nordschleif's coming out later. Road America, full, east, no west. Doesn't even have the chicane in it, which I'm pretty sure is still used. Silverstone, just usual stuff. That's all fine, no worries. Suzuka, full, east, no west circuit. Why? Why is the west not there? Virginia. I'm not really a huge fan of this track. Admittedly, though, they did get rid of a hell of a lot of tyre bundles that were in it, so I'm glad to see that gone. All those tyre bundles, they were awful. But yeah, we're missing the infieldy bit there. Yeah, whatever. Watkins, full, short. No, you can't run it without the bus stop anymore. It still exists. It's still there. Just let us use it. Let us use it in the previous titles. Why now? It doesn't make any sense. Right, full short, fine, whatever, for Laguna Seca. It's baffling. It really is baffling. That's the annoying thing. They don't feel built from the ground up. They just feel tweaked. That's all it does. They just feel tweaked. It's frustrating. Really is frustrating. The fact that I can't. We've got less environment. We've got less tracks to go around. Fine, but the fact that those tracks then have even less variance than what we had previously. You saw there on the Rivals, only 48 layouts are available. 48. That's nearly that's a little bit more. I can't remember exactly the number of different tracks in Motorsport 7. I can tell you though, it ain't far off that. Really isn't far off that. It's, oh my god, it is just so confusing. It really is. But, you know, I've talked about that enough. Let's move on to... We'll talk about the multiplayer first, then we'll move to the single player, because that will tie in a bit more to... whatchamacallit. It will tie in a little bit more to the later on in the video. Free play as well. Obviously, you saw you can tinker around. I think you can tinker around a bit with dynamic weather. I probably should have shown this off as well. Yeah, so you can tinker around with, you know, like starting time of day, time progression, time scale, the weather, dynamic track rubber, all fantastic settings. You know, weather, random, variable. So, you know, and starting time, you can start it whenever the hell you want. That's good to see. I do like that. Ah, here we go. You can do custom or even have it at random. Again, fantastic system. Not to worry. The weather. I like how it's variable, random, whatever. What is a shame, though, is you can't set the amount of differences. So, like, you know, you'll want to run a pretty long race. Let's say you're running a 26 lap race around Watkins Full. The fact that you can only have weather to be variable once, unlike Motorsport 7, yeah, sure, Motorsport 7 wasn't really full-on dynamic. It was dynamic-ish, but you could choose blocks of 3. In this, you can only have 1. I mean, it could be whatever the hell it wants, but you can only have 1, so you can't force it to be different, like you could in Project Cars 2, where you can have 4 different variations. Yeah. It's a shame, really, but it is what it is. Now let's move on to the multiplayer. Let's get into this. So with this, we have obviously now gotten a system of safety and skill rating. So, you know, it's a little bit, it's sort of like that, you know, you get that in a bunch of different racing games. Gran Turismo has one, and to be honest, I can't really comment, but it's a good system to have, you know, safety rating and skill. So that would be used a little bit more for matchmaking. And yeah, even this doesn't work very well. This really doesn't work. Because I've heard it's so exploitable, the safety rating, and skill rating is all over the shop. I've had one of my mates who, you know, sadly, he's got taken out a fair few times, so finished really low, crashed a few times, so his skill rating's like 1,000 odd. And, you know, he's not an awful driver, so I don't get it. So on the multiplayer, as you can see here, whilst the Rivals had full class Rivals events, here we don't. These cycle through, so we've got R class and A class. Why? Why? There was nothing wrong with the older system of you can choose which class you want to join a lobby for. There was nothing wrong with that. If you want to have these events that cycle through, do it like this, like you've done here. GTX, Formula Mazda, Touring Cars, GT Cars. They are fine. Class Hoppers isn't fine. Plus as well, because we don't have like the test track airfield or anything like that, we don't have tag. So no keep the it, pass the it, or virus. So none of that. We also, as you can clearly see, have no track days. We have no drift events. We have no drag events. Remember that, because we'll be talking about that later. Why is it? That's the big question. That's the question that constantly gets asked. There's all of these changes, very few of which are necessary. So few of them were deemed, yes, this game has improved massively because they changed this. There was no problem with having a class hopper system. There wasn't. There really wasn't. And yet, for some reason, they just decide that, nah, we're going to be like Motorsport 7. You can't really choose the hopper. You've just got to wait. So, you know, if you're really desperate to do some D-class racing, but you don't have a big community, well, guess what? You're going to have to wait until it appears here. Why? Why do I have to wait just to have the ability to use a pissing D-class car. For God's sake, I want to race in multiplayer in a D-class car. I shouldn't have to specifically be on the hunt for a community just to do it. I should be able to go on multiplayer and do it. Ugh. I don't get it. The other thing, right, is I'm just going to check I'm still in the party, so I don't want to interrupt people's day. I'm fine. Okay, so what have we got? We'll go join a touring car event because entry ends. You know, we've still got a little bit of time, so that gives me plenty of opportunity to talk about stuff. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pick the focus because BTCC. So, this is a system that I actually do quite like a lot. You know, you want to take part in a certain event, there is practice, qualifying, and then the actual race itself. So as you can see, practice ends in a set amount of time, basically when the race starts, okay? So, Nürburgring Sprint, in a lobby here, I am muted, that's fine, I'm also in a party. So, we'll go to race. As you can see, practice, quali, and yeah, that automatically goes off. Joining the multiplayer race likes to cause a lot of problems. The loading screens are really long, and I've heard people get soft locked a lot and crash in this menu itself. But we'll start off with the practice. This will put me on a rolling start and whatnot. People will be farting around on the race and things like that. In fact, you can see a driver up there, and you know, my car's on medium tyres. The one thing that I really don't understand about qualifying and free practice is the tyre wear is ridiculously high. It is ridiculous. I've been seeing that it is something like 5% extra tyre wear just for like some sort of thing to make you think about your pit strategy. Why the hell is 5% tyre wear really necessary? You know, if you're wanting to think about pit strategy, make the races that little bit longer. So if you don't want to do the little bit more serious racing, there's the other series there that is available for you. Do you know what they're called? Class hoppers. But they're not available in here. And, you know, I don't even... For the actual race, I think it's a bit different. I don't think it actually follows suit. But yeah, the fact that the tyre wear is so exaggerated in practice and qualifying for just physically no reason. I don't understand at all. What was the thought process behind it all? It's unnecessary. It's crap. Just... Again, why? It just... This is what I mean about the decisions. They make so many stupid ones, and it just keeps adding up and up and up and up, to the point where it almost... You can only see the flaws in it, and you can't see some of the great things that this game can actually potentially do if they just spend a little bit more time in specific areas. The menus as well is awful to navigate, so I'm just going to pull over here, right? So, I've now paused. AI's going to drive off. So we can skip lap, we can qualify. You know, that's completely fine. But that system is not there in the single player. It's not there whatsoever. These skip practice. How is it that we can do the skip lap here, and yet you can't do that for single player? Why is it a completely different menu? It doesn't make any sense. Unless there was some sort of patch, which I hope there bloody was, because the getting around the menus in this is bloody terrible. They really are. So, you know, there's a brief overview. Spotlight Series is just, you know, well, that's a spec Honda. That is, I'm not actually too interested, but you just drive one of the 3 Spotlight cars that are a bit cheaper for a specific time. So, we're going to go into the career mode now, because this is going to be good to talk about the Builders' Cup, its problems, the AI and its problems, and then we'll get into the driving and how it feels. Okay, so as you can see, This is split off a little bit more into, like, proper championships. As usual, it's got its divisions. So, practical performance, built for sport, sedans, premium, your usual gubbins. Okay? Usual crap. There's a big problem with this, though. There's a massive problem with the single player. And it's a decision that was not made in the previous Forzas, even Horizon. So I don't know why they're forced to do it here, other than the fact to make their playtime actually seem a lot better. To make progress, you need to have an online connection. Even in the single player. Again, we've not had to do that ever in any of the previous Forzas. So why is it now? No one likes it. Nobody likes forced multiplayer connection. They just want to be able to play it. I don't, there might be times when my internet goes down, but I still fancy having a drive. The crew constantly do this. The crew 2 and the crew Motorfest has this problem, and it's frustrating. Just Christ on a stick. The fact that all progress has to be done with an online connection, made even worse by the levelling up system, which we will get to very shortly. Don't you worry. So because of this forced online connection, this leads to a big host of problems. For instance, I'm currently halfway through Premium Performance. I was going to do the achievement where you have to complete a Builders Cup Championship without upgrading your car once. I disconnected halfway through, but I then, reconnected fairly quickly. However, when I then completed that championship, I didn't get the medal, despite me winning the championship. But I still have the car. I've got the reward card, the Ford GT. So I'm glad they didn't do that, because that would be a big piss take. But my progress in this championship was reset, and I never got the achievement because I disconnected halfway through, but then immediately reconnected. Still in the same race. So I just wasted my time. Yeah, sure, I got a Ford GT at the end of it, got some car XP, woo. But it's just, I had unlocked this. I unlocked that. And now for the fact I just can't do it, I've got to finish those races again. Ugh, God's sake. It took the mick. I was fuming. Another thing as well, and again, link back to Motorsport 7. One thing you could do with that game is you could decide how long the races were in the career. That system, even though not utilised that much, was great. You could have the short races, which lasted around about 5 minutes. You then had your medium-length races, lasting between 15 to 20-ish minutes. And then you had the extra long races, which would go on for 45 minutes, between 40-45 minutes. That system, I liked a lot. This, you can't do that. You are stuck to basically each race lasting about 10-ish minutes. 10 to 15 minutes-ish. Well, and that's it. That's all you get. That's your lot. So we've now got even less freedom in this than we do Motorsport, and we haven't even got to the good parts yet. So I'm halfway through this MX-5 Championship. Oh, God, we're Eagle Rock. Oh, at the club circuit as well. We're going to get to that. Let's not just yet. Let's let the blood boil a little bit. Let's let it simmer before we go into a volcanic eruption of despair and hate. So here we go. I'm going to be Eagle Rock Speedway. I don't actually care. So, obviously, we have to start with the practice. You can't ignore the practice. Oh, hello, teleporting in, man. The animations and things like that, it's small, but it adds quite a bit. I do like the fact that you can see your character leap over the pit wall. You see engineers all over the place and car mechanics. You will other drivers will pat you on the back, you fist bump other drivers, wishing them a good race and things like that, good luck, all of that jazz. It's little minor details, but it really adds a lot to the experience. I actually really like that system. It just adds a little bit more character to the game. So, the most important thing in any racing game to get correct is the handling and the physics. You do not have a good handling model with a good physics model, your game is going to be terrible. It really is. I'm sorry, Need for Speed 2015. I will stand by that. A bunch of games that may make good decisions but are let down hideously by really bad handling and really bad physics. It's not going to do well. Thankfully, as to be expected, with Forza, we get a very good handling model. In fact, this is my favourite. I'm being genuine. This might be my least favourite Forza, but this is my favourite handling of any of the motorsports. The cars actually can now tackle the curbs. It is brilliant, finally. That was a big problem with Motorsport 7, and yet with this, you can actually ride them and have a little bit of confidence, so good job you, well done. All of the cars I have driven so far, admittedly not too many, but in different weather conditions. I've driven them in rain, day. I was about to say day and night combined, so I've got with Dre. And nighttime, things like that. It is all brilliant how the cars handle. Yeah, sure, there's going to be ways to make your car drive awfully, but there's no complaints from me. Really is none. Which is annoying. Which, like I said, is annoying. Because they have improved in the right areas and then fallen short big time in everywhere else. Especially with the AIs. Well, like I said, so we are now... I'm not going to get the bonus lap because I'm like a second down on it. Oh dear. Fine. Car level 13. So you tell me, how do I skip practice? You saw there was a menu pop-up for finish practice. You saw that when I was in multiplayer, I can hit pause and go straight into qualify. In single player, you can't just do that. There's no quick early access menu to to skip practice or even restart. You've got to go there. Why is it that you've got to press exit before you can even restart? This has not been in a single different Forza game. If you needed to restart a race, you hit pause, there was a pop-up that said restart race, and you had a failsafe saying, are you sure? How big of a failsafe do we need for the fact you've got to pause, go to this menu, go to this menu, go here, and then you get a failsafe? There's two different failsafes for something that you are constantly forced to do, but you can't be bothered to do. Why is it that the pop-up for finish practice was there, and yet you can't just go there to skip? You clearly see that they changed the menu so that you can have more options. And yet with that, it's just, nah. Nope, you can't do that. Just 10 out of 10. Gold star. Congratulations. How the fuck is this even... It's a small thing. It really is a small thing. But the fact that the menus are just this illogical to just even go through. Just why? It doesn't make any sense. Right, okay, so now we move on a little bit to difficulty. Usual stuff, you get more credits, only credit. I think you might get a little bit more XP, probably not though. You get more credits for driver difficulty and having the specific rules. So, club rules, cosmetic damage, rewind on, limited penalties. You can't actually turn the penalties off in single player. Yeah. let's focus on race strategy and penalties limited to track cutting. So collisions, you're fine. Here, you get an at-fault collisions, and then here is all the same stuff. So, that's fine. The penalty system we will talk about very soon, because even in the multiplayer it's a problem. So I'm going to start at the back, because I feel like it. And this will be good to talk about the AIs and one of the main issues. Let's see, this is a system I quite like. Obviously with tyres, if I had race tyres, I could choose between soft, medium, hard or wet. And through the race, you can swap that. Fantastic stuff. Fuel load, you can change how much fuel you put in per pit stop. Again, brilliant stuff. They make these smart decisions and then ruin it massively. So I'm going to put in 9 laps of fuel, because it's an 8 lap race. I'm starting from 24th. So let's get things underway. Let's now talk about the AIs. Oh, we've got a rolling start here, not a standing start. Right, makes a change. The AIs. Oh god, the AIs. Somehow, they're even worse here. They really, really are bad here. So, you may have... Well, actually, here we go. I'll just go around the outside here. The AIs are terrible. They are really, really bad. I've just realised as well that whilst recording this, my recording has decided to desync itself actually quite badly compared to the actual game. That's fantastic. I've just seen how much of a delay that actually really is. Well done. Yeah, I've had delays before, but that was because, I've had the recording software up for bloody ages. But this has just decided to desync itself really quickly. Alright, okay, fair enough. The AIs. Right, okay, back to topic. They can't race wheel to wheel. They really are shockingly shit at racing anywhere close to each other, to you, and even on their own at times. Because, yeah, sure, as you would expect, if you get into clean air, if you get into clean air and the cars behind you are battling, you are going to start running away because you are uncompromised. That makes perfect sense, and the AIs do get that. The AIs at the front, will start running away a little bit. But in typical Forza fashion, as soon as you start getting close to them and overtake them, their speed plummets. I mean, I was nowhere near them, and yet you saw how slow they were. Just making that overtake an absolute cakewalk. In fact, I don't even have to try. I just have to get near them, and all of a sudden, their speed falls off some sort of massive cliff. Remember what they said in the trailer, that these AIs are meant to challenge the players. They're meant to challenge the players because all they do is that they piss off at the front. It takes you bloody ages to catch up to them. And then as soon as you catch up to them, oh, it's easy as piss. It really is that simple. I mean, come on. This has been an issue now with all Forza Motorsport. Some of the older ones, they were more competitive. The only time they really actually do pull up a good fight is if their car is miles faster than you and they have a long straight. That's it. Because around the corners, they are just so incredibly slow. They really are incredibly slow. And like I said, as soon as you overtake them, you can claw back from like a 8-second lead. You could claw back an 8-second gap. And then in 2 laps you could pull out like a 14-second gap. I had one race live on stream where I lapped, I think, about half the field twice. It's just... And they would drive off they would just drive off constantly on their own accord, just off the road. They'd fail at corners all the time. They'd run a little bit wide. They'd put themselves in an extremely wide line, and then they'd just drive themselves off the track, or they'd drive themselves into a wall, and just shit like that. It's funny that the fact that somehow they're just getting even worse. Yeah, sure. None of the AIs were perfect, even the older Forza games. They had their problems. But the fact that they're just getting even worse, they're not improving them. They just somehow just get ridiculously bad. Like, it is pretty obvious now that everyone knows that the AIs do have an advantage. It was just that in Motorsport 7, they were a lot more announced. You could actually see the fact that on the telemetry, they had more power. And then in Horizon 5, they weren't even hiding it. The cars just had a hell of a lot more grip than you, a hell of a lot more power than you. So it just became ridiculously unfun. And then with this, it feels the exact same. There was a tiny collision there. Am I going to get penalised? No, thankfully not. We'll talk about that very shortly. So, because of this system, and the upgrades being the worst system I've ever seen, so you will actually see the AIs upgrade their cars with things that you can't do. Things like drivetrain swaps, engine swaps, all of that jazz, race aero, race tyres, street, all that, the list goes on. Whereas all you can do when you buy a new car, is you can upgrade the exhaust, upgrade the air filter, upgrade the brakes. Although if you've got race brakes, then you can't, because you only start with 300 car points. So you pretty much put on 2 upgrades, and then that's your lot. And tutorials say, think about your upgrades. Think about what? Do I want to put on an exhaust? No exhaust. An air filter? No air filter. Some brakes? Because guess what? All I can do is upgrade 2 things at once. I can't really think about it, can I? So it's just a complete pointless bollocks. And like I said, the AIs can upgrade their car however the hell they want. And you can't do anything about it. Am I going to actually catch up to the lead? I'll be very curious, but it's God in heaven. They really do just suck arse to race against. They really, really do. And they've said as well that they build their car to your car as well. In some cases, that's true. In others, it's not. The cases where it's true is if you build your car to the top of the PI, to basically the top of a specific class that their cars already don't start off in. So let's say, for example, you have a B class car, but a bunch of the AIs are in A class cars. They won't build their car. They won't downgrade their car to B class. They will leave it stock in inverted commas. It's just the same PI. They just can't be asked to change the number. But if you build that B class car to the top of A class, then the AI's PI will go to the top of A class. And it's the same if you build to S class and blah de blah. Because halfway through the championship, the maximum PI does change. It does actually change. Right. So, was there anything else for me to... Yes, there is, actually. There is another thing for me to talk about. And this is a specific problem with the Builders' Cup. A really big problem, actually. For some reason, you can't use race cars, even though there are some there and there. And you can't use race cars. Which begs the question... Right, if my RB would work, it's still broken at the minute. In fact, I think it is complete. There we go. Near enough is completely broken. We've got to wait, okay, until new featured championships comes out. So it's basically a system from Forza Horizon 5, right, where you get an event for X amount of time, and then next week you get some new stuff to do. In these, as you can see, we've got KTM Crossbow GTX, a Ferrari FXXK, and the Ginetta Le Mans prototype car. And then the reward is an Acura. But like I said, you can't use a race car. So how is it going to work? How are these going to work? Built to race, so I think the Crossbow they'll just stick in track whatever it is. Like Hyper Track Toy, whatever. Track Toys or something like that. Track Exotics, they're just Hyper Track Toys, but none of them are classed as race cars. That's an LMP car. That is classed as a race car. So, at some point, they are going to have to change the rule to allow you to race cars in the Builders' Cup. Now, I don't know if this is still true, because I've not progressed enough to actually, be able to check myself because of some fucking progression. But, if that is still true to this day, let me know. Well, to this video, I will, take that point back about not being able to use race cars. But that was true, if it still isn't now. So, why delay the inevitable? The inevitability that you will then be able to use a race car in single player. Why not now? Why not now? That's a reward showcase. You're going to have to use that car. That is the entire point of the reward showcase. You're going to use it. So why is it that we can't use them yet, or could? It doesn't make any logical sense. Another thing as well, talking about the AIs, is that there have been screenshots and recordings of AIs using unreleased cars. I've not seen it yet, but it does happen. I think the prominent ones is Forza Prototype 2 with the Orica. I think it is the Orica, if I remember my LMP2 cars correctly. And one of the GTX cars. I'm not too sure which one it is. I actually really don't know. But AIs will spawn in unreleased cars. So it proves that they are done. They are finished. Probably the interior needs work. I don't know. But it's going to use a system like Forza Horizon 5. The penalty system in this is not a problem that is individual to Motorsport, because a lot of other games that has one decided by AI does have its flaws, and this is no exception. Now, there are penalty systems. Now, sometimes the penalty is fair and is justified. You cut the corner, you get a time penalty. You go off the track completely on purpose and do an overtake. You get a time penalty for an illegal overtake. You crash into someone on purpose, sometime you should get a penalty. All of that works fine. No worries. In principle. In execution, no. Again, this falls into the problem that it is very inconsistent. And in multiplayer, this gets abused hard. This really does get abused. I remember this was off camera, I was doing the qualifying event so that you can actually gain access to multiplayer properly. I had a guy that basically took someone out and at the same time took himself out. His car span into me. I went to the left to avoid the crash. He span his car, floored it into the side of my car. I got a 2.5 second time penalty for causing an avoidable collision. I was moving out the way. He drove into me. I got penalised. They didn't. This happens all the time, where the innocent party gets penalised and the person at fault does not. Another thing that should definitely be looked at into being fixed is the saving for single player, the Builders' Cup. Now, I actually got away very lucky in this clip, but I have heard some people lose so much more progress than I have here. In fact, probably having even to restart the entire of the Builders' Cup. So as you can see, I won that race, and it actually meant that I did win the overall championship. However, when I went to look at the thing, as you can see, I only got the medal of participation. So, when I rebooted the game again, went straight back into the races to see what was what, and of course, the game decided that I had to do Laguna Seca again. This definitely should be fixed. Not that it's the worst thing in the world. However, we have a very similar problem to Forza Horizon 5. And that is now where we begin chapter 2, if you will. The car list and all of the main menu stuff. This is where the fun begins. Because everything here falls apart. Everything. As you saw, when I was doing the multiplayer race and the single player race, I was gaining car XP. Probably the most controversial thing they've ever done in a Forza game, even more so than the homologation stuff in Motorsport 7. This is even worse. Now, this isn't a system they have just thought of here and now. The car level system is something from Motorsport 2 and Motorsport 3. But in those games, it was brilliant and worked differently. Let me explain in case you don't know. How it worked is you had cars, obviously, and when you raced around in a specific model, you would gain not only driver XP but car XP at the same time. And when you leveled up your car, you got a discount on upgrades. So, for example, let's pick quite a good one. We'll go for something Japanese. This Mitsubishi FTO. So I got this car to, let's say, level 3. Car level 3. I would get a 20% discount, pull some number out the air, 20% discount on air filters produced by K&N. That would apply to all cars with a K&N air filter. This was brilliant for different reasons. Reason 1 is it was a good incentive to make you use other cars. Reason 2, when you unlocked new cars, you then had that chance that when you are upgrading it to use it in a future series, the upgrades were at a discounted price. So already, that system was brilliant. In Motorsport 3, I think it worked a little bit differently in terms of it more focused, I think, on regional stuff. I could be wrong on that. But it was still, you got discounts on upgrades, but I think it was a little bit, it worked a little bit differently. I think there was more manufacturer sort of upgrade discount on a specific manufacturer. A little bit more like what Motorsport 4 did, but Motorsport 4 changed it all entirely so that it was a manufacturer affinity level rather than a car level. But that system as well was unbelievably good. So with this, we have a car leveling system. Okay, not to worry, not too bad. That is what we all would think, and that is what I would hope would think. However, that's not happened. That really hasn't happened. Because with every single car, you have to unlock the ability to upgrade. As you see, fuel system, car level 8, ignition, car level 11. If my right bumper would work. There we go. Flywheel, 6, 20, 35. Yeah, you get the picture. Anti-roll bars, you can't change till it's level 4. Springs and dampers, level 8. Weight reduction is level 20. Tyres. The tyre widths are at level 2. Why the hell are they at level 2? Why would I decide... The levelling is all over the place. It doesn't make any sense. Rims. The wheels. You can't even do anything like that until it's level 2. And they've changed it so now it's alphabetical. Yeah, give or take that, to be honest. It might be alright for others, it might not be alright. Before it was split by manufacturer, and then they narrowed it down to sport, style, whatever the other one was, I can't remember. Specialist, I think it was. They had that system. With this, it's alphabetical, whatever. Clutch, can't do anything. Driveline's level 10, I don't know why. Aero and appearance, you can't even change how the car looks until it's level 12 or level 15. And, to make it even worse, aspiration, you can't change it until your car's level 20. Engine swap, you can't change it until your car's level 40. Drivetrain swap, you can't change it until your car's level 50. Body kits, you can't change until the car's level 45. That wouldn't be awful if it didn't take so fucking long to upgrade the pissing cars. All 543 of them take way too long to get to car level 50. All of them. Because it takes roughly 2 to 3 hours, if not more, depending on how good you are, to level up the cars. Now, admittedly, they have tried to save themselves a little bit here by including the most amount of race cars. But that doesn't save the fact that for the production cars, it is horse shit. It is fucking dreadful. I can't believe that they actually thought this would be a brilliant idea in the name of progression. Because we have complained about it time and time and time again, that the progression in the Motorsport series and modern Forzas suck dick. They really have, and they still have. You know? It is terrible. This isn't progression. This is monotonous fucking padding to the game time. That's all it does. It just makes you play the game more rather than actually enjoy the game more. So the DLC cars get the exact same treatment. So for me, I'm not thinking, ooh, new DLC car. I want to know what it's like. I'm just going to think, it's a DLC car. Oh fuck, that means I've now got to spend even more time with those cars. Just to get them to level 50 to use the sandbox. To then eventually find out if they're actually good or if they're dog shit. That's all it is. Now, it's not like it's the end of the world because, of course, you know, you can refund car points because that is the currency used for upgrades now, is car points that you get for leveling up the car. Fine, no worries. But the upgrades shouldn't be locked. Or if you want to leave them locked, level 20 should be the maximum. At all costs. If you're going to leave this system so that it is tied to the individual car, level 20 should be the last upgrade to unlock. Anything after that just allows you to use more upgrades. That's how it should be. But I'm going to talk about what I would change about the systems later on. You know, because, Jesus Christ, I could talk about this for bloody ages. Oh yeah, placing car bay. They're the 3 car bays back there. But as you've probably noticed earlier, you know, there's me Brabham. That's all that does. What's new? What actually is new? A message. Is it an apology for being crap? No, it isn't. That's a shame. Here's your Forza Motorsport Car Pass calendar for October. Includes 30 new to Motorsport cars, with 1 released every week until Car Pass is complete. So, new to Motorsport. Are you noticing something here? Have a look at the 4th one. That releases on October 26th. The BMW M2 Competition Coupe. Didn't we just get that in Forza Horizon 5? For free. We just got that car for free. Yes, it's FOMO, but that's, you know, that's a different type of issue I'm not going to go into. So a free car in Horizon 5 is now a DLC car in Motorsport. Remember how I complained a lot about the Porsche 911 Classic in Horizon 5 being a DLC car again, like it was in Motorsport 4? This is even worse, for the fact that a car that was free is now paid for. That's my main issue, right? As you saw there with the... Oh god, as the message... Oh, bugger. Oh, there we go. So we've actually now got the Spotlight car at discount, the Crossbow GT6. So that's just been released. Right, okay, fine. But yeah, you know, just the fact that the M2 Competition Coupe is a DLC, is in the Car Pass. And the fact that this is the lowest amount of Car Pass cars. This is 30. 30 new to Motorsport. See how they're being clever about it. They're not saying new to Forza. They're saying new to Motorsport. So that they can charge you shit for the fact that the car was in Forza Horizon 5. But nah, we'll make it a DLC car anyway, just to, you know, give a little bit more of that. Give a little bit more of that cash. Because we know that Horizon 5 was shit, so what we'll do is that we'll add the car in Motorsport, but we'll put on a price tag. So the KTM Crossbow is now on a featured playlist. Cool. So does that mean, actually, that they've now fixed it and race cars can be used? Oh, it comes out in 3 hours anyway. Whoops. I might actually be able to figure out then eventually. Hey, you know what? That can come in the edits, really, can't it? I'll actually be able to find out if I can use race cars in that then. Because if I'm having to use the Crossbow GT2, then that means race cars will now be finally able to be raced. So thank you for sort of giving me a way to answer that question. So, as we were speaking about the cars and the car pass, how it's given us cars that were in Horizon 5, charging DLC for it, and then putting it in this, let's talk about the car list. Now, there is 500, well, at the minute, in about a couple of hours' time, there's going to be 544 cars. Which is quite a lot less than what we got in Motorsport 7. That left us with 835, if numbers serve me right. So we are down 291 cars. That is a lot. That is a hell of a lot. But that is from total car list, because of course we've got cars from Forza Horizon 5. Things like the Valhalla concept car. We've got the DBS Superleggera. I don't even think that's in Horizon 5. Aston Martin Vanquish, the Modern Vantage, the V12 Vanquish. Very happy to see that back, actually. Really, really glad to see that back. You know, so we've got cars from Forza Horizon 5 in this as well. Okay. So, how many cars have been removed from Motorsport 7 when they had this excuse of saying, we've removed cars that weren't really well suited for, you know, the motorsport. So things like the off-road pickup trucks, the normal pickup trucks, SUVs, rally cars, stuff like that. That's completely fine by me. I don't hate that system. There's going to be people that miss the pickup trucks. There's going to be plenty others that go, oh well. There's 474 cars missing from Forza Motorsport 7 in this, the next Motorsport. I can tell you now, not all of those 474 cars were not fucking suitable to be raced on a fucking racetrack. I can tell you that for a fact. A lot of them were very necessary. A lot of them were fine. We are missing a lot of GT cars. You know, we are missing the older Audi GT3. We are missing some of the older Audi's LMP1 cars. We are missing fucking BMW GT3 cars. There's no Z4. There's no M3 GT2. None of those have made it. Bugatti, we're missing a whole bunch of them. Christ alive. Chevrolet, we're missing the C6R. We're missing, alright, okay, admittedly, different livery, so I'll let that one slide with the FLM09. Alright, okay, you get a pass from me there. I mean, like, just Ferrari, for instance. There's no GT3 cars here. None. Piss all. Nada. All we have is the Challenge. That's not a GT car. That is a build spec car. There's the proof that the fact the car in the front is not the FXXK Evo. It's the normal FXXK. That is going to be a spotlight car. So immediately we're going to have the F85 problem of we're going to have to wait ages for cars that were in previous installments to then be re-added. Not for... I mean, yeah, sure, you know, we get a discount on them for the first week or something like that. But, you know, just make them the spotlight car in from launch. Or better yet, don't fucking delay them. The FXXK has beaten the previous Forza game, a lot of them now. So why Is it that you decide to delay that one for whatever reason? It makes no sense. Riddle me that one, Batman. Just, oh my god. No 488 GT3, no 458 GT3. Yeah, sure, we've got more modern GT3s. We don't have the 396, but is it 396, 296? I'll let that one slide though, because that was quite recent. You know, we've got a few V8 supercars, but we don't have Bathurst, as you probably saw. Ford, you know, I mean, yeah, sure, we've got more touring cars, cool to see, but we don't have a good variety of them. I will admit that. We really don't have a good variety of the proper touring cars, because it's not even the classic ones yet again. I mean, yeah, this car list, you know, minus the fact that 500 cars are just gone from Forza Motorsport 7, for one. Admittedly, some of them are just reliveries and whatnot, but just Christ alive. Lamborghini, no Huracan GT3 car, no Huracan Super Trofeo, no Gallardo Super Trofeo. They're gone. They were perfectly fine for racing and whatnot. So, oh yeah, Lotus. Notice the fact there's no Exige. Not a single Exige is here. Not even the 211. What? How the fuck is the Exige not here? We've got the Evora back, and you're not the Exige. None of them. What? How? Why? That doesn't make any sense for no Elises or the Exige. Oh my god. What? Maserati, we don't have the Gran Turismo or the racing one. It's just, oh god, not even the MC12 Corsa has returned. Mazda MX-5, what we're missing the NB. Don't have the NB whatsoever. Oh, it just, Christ, it's just awful. And this isn't the worst bit. It gets even worse from here. Would you like to know why? Because of these divisions. They make no sense, a lot of them. They really, really don't. Some of them are fine. Elite Factory Race Cars, yep, all of those I will give a tick. They pass the test. Early LMP, I'll give you a tick. They pass the test. And you know, that V12, glad to see it's not in the Group C cars anymore, because it was a bit, I think it was quite a bit outclassed, I will admit. Early Sport Compacts, well, I mean, to be honest, I guess they're quite old, I'll give you that. I mean, a lot of them are quite sports cars, but yeah, whatever. I'll give them a pass for it. Exotic GT Classics. Okay. I don't quite agree with that. I would say that should be in the Elite Factory Race Cars, which I'm pretty sure it was in Motorsport 7. Well, it's not anymore. XJ220S TWR, I'll probably give you that. I'd probably put in Elite Factory Race Cars, but okay, I'll fight the XJR15. I don't quite agree with that one. Formula 60s, 70s, you know, fine whatsoever. Nice to see we've actually got another one, something else that isn't just these three. Got something new. Formula Mazda, Forza GT. This is where the big problem here. So we've got the Asenza thrown in with this. Okay, I wouldn't really... I mean, because most of these are GT3s, GTEs and shit like that, GT4. There we go, but we've got the 488 Challenge. It's not a GT car. Yeah, your eyes don't deceive you. The 3 V8 supercars are in the GT class. Why? There was nothing wrong with having the V8 supercars in their own class. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Their own division. Because it is their own division. They're not Aussie GT3 cars. They're Aussie supercars. They're touring cars. That's what they are. They aren't a GT car. They aren't... No. Why are they here? For fuck's sake, they shouldn't be. Because they're just not. It doesn't make any sense. Forza P1, yeah, probably seems about right. But like I said, we're actually down quite a bit on the P1s. We don't have some of the older Prototype 1 cars. Prototype 2, yeah, sure, whatever. They're the new hypercars, which, to be honest, we did see as well that Glickenhaus. Well, yeah, we don't have Glickenhaus in here just yet. Forza touring cars, you know, yeah, cool, whatever. You know, we've got the Hyundai, the Lincoln Co., the RS3s here still, the Merc, Ford, but we don't have the older Audi touring car. That's not here anymore. We don't have the older Civic, even though it's still in use. Not here anymore. It's just, yeah. Oh, God. Grand Prix rivals, so, you know, they're in their own class. Alright, fine. GTP slash GT, you know, the C, so yeah, this seems alright, to be honest. Seems about fine. There's probably, I think there is quite a few omissions, but you know, I think they've pretty much got the majority of them. GTX supercars, yeah, again, all of them look fine. No real complaints there. Hot hatch icons. This is where problem number 2 comes in. Modern exotic GT. Ferrari Roma, agreed. McLaren GT, agreed. Monza SP2, I don't quite agree with that. F8, it's not really a Grand Tourer. DBS Superleggera, agreed. Portofino, agreed. Agreed. Why the fuck are the 3 hypercars in this? The McLaren P1, the 918 and the LaFerrari. I'm sorry, when were they not a hypercar? They are the epitome of hypercar rivals. They are the 3 popular ones. And yet, for some reason, they are not in the correct division. Why the fuck are they here? They shouldn't be here. Do you know where they should be? Here! Modern hypercars. Why is it that the Rimac Nevera and the Rimac Concept 2 is a hypercar, yet the Lotus Evija is not? Why is that not with the hypercars? Considering the other hypercar, the Razor Tachyon, the Rimac, are in the hypercars. Why is that in here? Why the fuck is the Evija put in the same discipline as the Vanquish Zagato, the Portofino? These aren't anywhere near the same classification of car. Nowhere near. Doesn't make any fucking sense. But especially these 3. And would you like to guess what? Yes, you already do know the answer. They were in hypercars before. Why are they now not a hypercar? What ruling has changed within the past however many months that has ruled these 3 out as hypercars? I'll give you the answer. Fucking none. Oh God, it's just shit. So the fact they're going to need to be BOP'd with the rest of the class, just, oh God, it doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, as well, Alfa Romeo Giulia. You're probably noticing a little bit with these thumbnails how they're a bit broken. The Alfa Romeo Giulia just has race front bumper on as standard. It just does. Felt like it. God, let's get away from there real quick before I have an aneurysm. I'm already halfway there. So you probably were noticing actually quite a bit with the car thumbnails how some of them are fine, and yet other ones are quite a bit balked, more particularly with classic cars, but then it's not just classic cars. You can see that actually there's a perfect example, the AMG, this C-Class here. The lights there are fine. In the thumbnail, they are broken. They are blacked out. Look at the M4. The M4 almost looks like it hasn't got any headlights. We'll go here, there you go. They are fine there. So what is the lighting on the thumbnails for the fact that the headlights to be fucking broken this badly? Where's the quality control? I complain about it in Horizon 5 how they were just all over the bloody place, and yet with this they just break the bloody the headlights because why not? We need to break something at least. Why not let it be that? Just Christ on a bike. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. So the fact that the thumbnails broke, I mean, what is that? What is this Skyline's headlights? Let me... Hang on. No, they're fine there. What is that? It looks like it's made out of bloody... I don't even know what... Like steel mesh? With 2 holes poked in it? What the fuck? I like the wheels. I'm pretty sure. Are they the wrong colour? Hang on a minute. Let me have a look. Yeah, they are. They're silver. And yet on the thing, they're black. God, look at the... Oh, it's awful. Oh, God, all the muscle cars. Yep, there we go. All of them don't have working... Oh, God. It is laughable. Really is laughable. How should... I'm pretty sure that doesn't even have any headlights. In fact, I can tell it has no headlights. You can clearly see. How far back are they burrowed? Not that far. Yeah, they are just missing altogether. Lights.jpg refuse to load. Come on. That's not even hidden. That's bloody obvious. That explains it. That explains it all, doesn't it? That's why they aren't... Because they are just missing entirely. Oh, God. That reminded me as well, I actually still didn't talk about a few things about the upgrades. So we'll go into... I don't have a body kit, but I'm pretty sure you've already seen images of some of the cars with the body kits. How the wheel alignment actually doesn't match the body kit, so it looks like a bloody wonky shopping trolley. When it comes to the upgrades, not only do you have to unlock them, but we're missing a few. Okay, drift tyres. It was a thing that was asked for years. We got it in Horizon 5. They're now gone in Motorsport. Alright, okay, like, you know, drift tyres may not be the biggest killer in the world, because you can still make a drift car without them. Not that you should really bother, because, well, you know, there's no drift events. And same with these. Well, we've got drift suspension. We've got the suspension, not the tyres. And then for tyres... We've got bloody drag tyres. But there's no drag events. So they're rendered completely pointless. Like snow tyres in FH5, unless you specifically want to park yourself on a mountain for 7 days a week. Once a month. It just... Come on. Track width. Not even an upgrade option anymore. Just the quality of the cars. They reworked one. Right, they reworked one model, and that is the Subaru 22B. And I have to say, it does actually look pretty damn good. Oh, for God's sake, how many messages are we getting here? Go away. Don't miss this week's Spotlight car. What? Hang on. This week's Spotlight car. The event isn't for another bloody 2 weeks. How is it this week's Spotlight car? Are they just putting them all there? But you can't use it in that until 14 days. So they must just all release the cars at once. Alright, okay then, fine. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Well, we're going to find out soon, in 2 hours. Basically, if they are actually available. If they're not, then, well, that was a fucking lie. And like I said as well, there are no NASCARs. And there are no Indy cars. And obviously there's no modern Formula 1 car. The Crew 2, they may have a deal with Red Bull, but the Crew Motorfest, has the most modern Red Bull. This doesn't even have a modern Formula 1 car. Sorry, Formula 1 fans, looks like the Crew Motorfest is where you're going to have to be. Not here. And mainly, like I said, they don't have the older Formula 1 cars, whereas this does. But the other thing as well is you saw in the trailers the Formula Drift cars. Yet they're missing. They all are. So are we going to get another Formula Drift DLC? Or is that going to be another Spotlight? Oh my God. Just all of these things. They keep adding all of the time to the problems, and then it takes too long to fix them. It really does. You know, one of the complaints we constantly had that they did finally address was that drafting someone dirtied your lap. It took 14 years to fix. It was a problem in Motorsport 3, and it wasn't fixed until this. Better late than never, I suppose. But good Christ alive. This is taking the right piss. So, like I said before, back to the car models. They only updated the Subaru 22B. So that means some of the older Japanese cars and the Golf and whatnot do not have a reworked model. Not only that, the four-wheel steering, that was a thing in Horizon 5, it became, a USP, gone. That's disappeared again. Things we've been asking for years get added in one and then just immediately remove the next. Just instantly. I mean, come on. Like, are you taking the piss? In fact, yes, I know you are. This is stupid. This really is just stupid. Oh, God's sake, man. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. As well, the liveries. We'll use this R8 because I have seen it. We'll go to design and paint car. I'm not interested. We'll go to apply decals. Bugger off. Yep. It's the exact same. Some of the livery, some of the stickers are always there. So the 44s on the Audi R8 is just there forever. You can't change it. Alright, okay. Bollocks to us, I guess. Are you going to load the decals or not? Hey, there we go. There we go. Finally Audi showed up. Bloody hell. Took your sweet ass time. I've seen this I've seen this as well. We'll use BF Goodrich, sorry. You can sort of already see, you might be able to, sort of, just the low-ass quality on the livery. I mean, that is piss poor. Really is piss poor. I thought the paints and whatnot were built from the ground up and all of that stuff. I thought they were, it turns out not. If we go to paint, because I know some cars you can't do this, paint wheels, do these work? These ones actually do work. There are some wheels, I'm not too sure which ones, but there are some that you can't physically paint. So it's like the chrome wheels in the 360 days, you just physically can't paint them again. Alright, okay. So, I think that's pretty much everything. I think that's near enough everything covered. From the awful menus, to the outrageously shit upgrade system and the progression system, to terrible AIs, to a car leveling system that doesn't even reward you very well. You saw in the race, right, I overtook someone, and if you didn't quite see it, I overtook someone before the race began. And I didn't get credit for overtaking. I did it before the line. You do not get a single bit of credit for overtaking until lap 1 officially starts. Until you cross the line to start, lap 1. So getting a good launch is if for the sake of progression, is completely pointless. You may as well just wait until the first braking zone and then start overtaking everyone. Like, how way? That's ridiculous. Not only that, you saw, when it came to the sectors, the key sectors as it's called, is that you get a score based on how fast you did it. And you get a higher score if it was very quick but also clean. You also get bonus XP for if you set a personal best in that sector. No problems there. It doesn't apply to the lap. I thought the entire philosophy was you race, you build, you dominate. You get rewarded for going faster in your car in key sectors, but you get nothing for doing the fastest lap, a personal best lap, or even setting the fastest lap of the race, you get nothing for it. Oh, just what? How the bloody hell can that be fine? How can it be fine? Like I said, that happens in a lot of AI designed penalty systems, so I'm not going to completely have a go at Forza for it because it's not unique. It really isn't unique. Oh, God. So, yeah, there we go. We've talked all about that. So, awful leveling system. Awful progression. That doesn't even solve the problem of progression. All it does, it just adds padding to it. To AIs being terrible. To a multiplayer that is fine in principle but has a stupid tyre wear for some reason. To less environments with each track having less race routes than before. Near 500 cars removed from Forza Motorsport 7. No drift events or drag events. No open class hoppers. No tag. No drift. I've already said that. No drift or drag events. No track days. Anything like that. Couldn't use race cars to begin with in the Builders' Cup, despite the fact that there are clearly race cars that fit within the regulations. Not only that, as well, half the time you actually need to start upgrading them anyway because they have a lot of upgrades to work towards anyway. Arduous and bloody tedious upgrades locked behind certain behind certain car level restrictions. The fact that we don't have an auction house, so again that's gone. Not only that, the sell cars is completely pointless. It really is pointless. Because before you might have sold a car because it wasn't good, so you get some of your money back to then spend it on another car and get upgrading to that. For this, you can just refund the upgrades anyway. And all the sell car does, it shouldn't really be called sell your car. What it should be is remove hours of progress on a specific car because fuck you. That's what it should say. Because duplicates of the same car do not share car levels. So there's no point to even owning more than one car of the same thing. So I've got one BMW M1. There's no point of me buying another M1 because I might want to use that in a different class. So pretty much, I've got to get that to level 50 and then put different tunes on it. That's all you can, and that's all that it is. For some people, that might not be an annoyance, but for the fact that we don't get the auction house is gone again, and then the sell car, pretty much you get some money back and none of your hours back. That's all it is. That's all you get. Just all of this compiled together makes a game that has improved handling, in my opinion, improved physics, in my opinion, track limits actually being a hell of a lot better, in my opinion, then just overshadowed by so many problems that I had. You can even look on the Forza forum, and it's got a list of known issues. It's about an 8-page essay. For the fact that there's almost 8 pages worth of A4... The fact there's almost 8 pages worth of text on a reboot is ridiculous. Delayed for months, built from the ground up, and yet there's more known issues there than there seems to be in the fucking UK. Just, good Christ. How did this ever get launched in this state without them ever taking a single step back and realising, we're getting a lot of flack for this. Let's tweak it. Because they don't listen to the fan base whatsoever. They just see that it gets pretty good reviews, that it does well, and they go, oh well, no need to learn a lesson. No, there is a lesson to be learned. It's called learn how to launch a fucking game. Because, Jesus Christ. This is just all forms of wrong. This is just everything we didn't want in a reboot. But yet, here we are. So, we're pretty much at the end of the video now. We need to answer the few questions. How much would I pay for it? How would I improve it? Let's start with the first question. How much would I pay for this game? Now, I've got this on Game Pass, and obviously I did have early access because I bought the premium bundle. That was 25 quid. I wouldn't spend, and now that I have played the game fully, I wouldn't spend more than a tenner. I'm being serious. I wouldn't spend more than a tenner. Because this is just not right. This really isn't right. I'm going to say it again one more time. The biggest in question that is just all the play everywhere is why. Why? How? The entire principle of Forza Motorsport was changed. We complained about progression, not the fact that we could upgrade the cars. And yet they have seemed to say, right, okay, we complained about the lack of progression because we got some of the fastest cars way too easily. So they took that and thought, what that means is the upgrades are too easy to obtain. No, that's not what we mean. But in fact, that's the complete opposite of what we mean. Well, yeah, there we go. That's what we've got to. So now we've got to try and think of solutions on how the fuck to fix this. System, big change number one is overhaul the upgrades. Fix the fuck out of them. Now, there's different ideas I have for this. If you are wanting to leave it so that the car points is tied to each individual car, then get rid of the ridiculous car level for the upgrades. Like I said, the maximum should be level 20, no more. Then the rest of the car points earned from leveling up the car is then used for basically being able to apply more upgrades so you can max the car out. Also as well, what is wrong with the core out there? Is that an actual texture bug, or is that meant to just be part of the car because it feels like it? Hang on. I've got to explore this a little bit further. What is that? What is that? I actually don't know. Is they the light? No. I don't actually know what they are. Oh, well, someone that knows actually better will probably be able to tell me. But what they look is really, really awful. Oh, God. So yeah, there is that. Also, you can't rev the cars anymore in the garage. You know the thing that we really liked in Horizon 5? Yeah, that's gone as well. So, idea one was that if you're going to leave the car points tied to individual cars, the leveling up system should be reduced massively. Because I don't have all the time in the world like I used to when I was at college. You know, my time is very limited weekdays. I can't be asked, and I shouldn't have to be, to sit here for multiple hours to basically get the ability to put all the upgrades on one car. I shouldn't have to do that. But here we are. We fucking have to. And it's shit. So there's idea one. Idea two is, because let's face it, the whole race build dominate is too ingrained into this game. It is part of the core ingredient to this. So I don't think we're ever going to get rid of that system. So, second option, and I think this is the one that I sort of liked a little bit more, is the car points. is tied to the manufacturer itself. And you bring back the manufacturer affinity from Motorsport 4. You bring that back. And what the car level does is give you car points for the manufacturer. So that, this M1 is, let's say that's level 50. So I've gotten, a bunch of car points for that. I then fancy, I'm going to buy another BMW. I'm going to, because I want to build a, for example, I want to use this in a S-Class. I want to make an S-Class car of that. So what I will do is, because I have, put the cars to, got BMW Affinity to level, 40, I then have a bunch of available upgrades. I have used the M1 quite a bit to get a bunch of car points. I buy the M3, a bunch of the upgrades are available, and I have a good amount of car points to spend on the M3. That is my second idea. And I think that is really... It should be per manufacturer, the upgrades, at a minimum. Not per car. Because then, the 2 to 3 hours then wouldn't seem like the be-all and end-all. Because I then know I'm not doing that for one car. I'm doing that for multiple cars. Yeah, sure, there are a few manufacturers with just one. That's, alright, okay, fair enough. It's not a flawless system. But at least it's going to be better than what we have at the minute. Like, for Corvettes, this is Chevrolet. Perfect example. Look at all of these Chevrolets I will be able to upgrade with just using the same principle, but the upgrades are unlocked for manufacturer affinity level. So I'm immediately upgrading a hell of a lot more, available to upgrade a hell of a lot more cars, so my time is better used to actually be able to enjoy the game further. Rather than a new car gets released, I go, oh god, here we go. Add another 2 to 3 hours to the timer just to be able to get all the upgrades available and do what I was able to do for the past however many years it was. 18. For the past 18 years, all of it has flipped on its head. The second... Okay, so that's improved. Second, that should be improved. The second thing that should be improved is the AIs. Actually make them competent at racing. Because they are shit. They either piss off at the front because they have clean air, or they just fumble over each other because they are within proximity of another car. And they can't handle it anymore, so they will just drive themselves off the road. So that needs to be done. That needs to be changed. The replay system actually needs to function. God, like the fact that this review has been well over now, we're getting fairly close to 2 hours on this review, close to 2, and I've had to think of all of this. I'd say think of all this. I have, noted things notified from other YouTubers. Just, wow. I didn't think we could get a game that would be worse at launch than Motorsport 7 and Horizon 5. Yeah. Excuse me. Here we are. Here we fucking are. Well, there we have it. That is my extensive review of Forza Motorsport. I do hope you enjoyed. I'm very curious to hear your opinions of this game as well. Very curious. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as well on how this game can be improved, other than just everything. What sort of car leveling system would you implement? What do you think would actually work with the game as well, you know. Things like that. I now need to basically set the AIs off on an oval, because that's the only very efficient way to actually level up cars in this game. Oh, God. But yeah, there we go. That's it from me. Take care. Ciao for now. And avoid this game until it is all fixed. And then once that's all done, then I could probably smile again when playing this game. Because fucking hell, this was painful.